What happens when a fiercely independent woman, one who has built her entire life on her own terms, finds herself in a relationship that subtly asks her to tear it all down? You've probably heard the term INFJ woman online. She's a force of nature, defined not by her spot in the social pecking order, but by her relationship with herself. She's the quiet observer, the independent thinker, the one who doesn't follow the conventional rules because her own are stricter and more authentic. Her energy is magnetic precisely because she isn't chasing the spotlight. She generates her own light. But in love, her greatest test isn't a big, obvious fight. It's the quiet manipulations she never saw coming. It's the slow, steady corrosion of her self-worth, like a beautiful statue left out in acid rain, disguised as care and presented as love. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. It's a field guide to protecting your own essence. Here are 8 things an INFJ woman, and frankly, any woman who values her core identity, must never do for a man. Never compromise your independence. Independence is not just a buzzword for an INFJ woman. It's the very marrow of her existence. It's her foundation, the bedrock on which her entire life stands. It's not a passing phase or something she casually claims as part of her personality. For an INFJ woman, independence is the very essence of her being, shaping everything she does, from the decisions she makes to the way she interacts with the world. It's not simply about living alone or making her own money. It's a deeper, intrinsic autonomy that governs how she engages with herself and with others. The thought of compromising this independence is almost unthinkable. For her, giving up autonomy is equivalent to betraying herself. It's the opposite of self-empowerment, it's self-erasure. Her independence is the lens through which she sees her life, and without it, she loses her clarity and purpose. It's not just about control, it's about the freedom to live authentically, to make decisions based on her own desires, to choose her own path, and to create a life that resonates with her core values. To give this up for someone else, even a partner, is to lose herself. In relationships, many people look for someone to complete them, but not the INFJ woman. She is already whole. She enters a partnership not because she is empty, but because she wants to share her fullness. She wants someone who complements her life, not someone who fills a void. When an INFJ compromises her independence, she is not just losing a part of herself. She is allowing her life to be dictated by someone else's expectations. That is a betrayal of her deepest truth. No man, no matter how much he claims to love her, should ever ask her to shrink herself or to give up her space to fit into his narrative. To say that independence is about being alone is a misunderstanding. It's not about isolation. It's about having the choice to be alone when needed. Independence doesn't mean that she never needs help or that she can't be vulnerable with a partner. It means that she will never be diminished by anyone. She knows her worth, and no one, no matter how well-meaning, should be allowed to make her feel like she's less than she is. Her independence is her shield and her strength. It allows her to stand tall, not because she's impervious to life's challenges, but because she knows how to face them head-on. In relationships, this strength is not something to be feared or suppressed. It should be celebrated. The right partner will understand that her independence is not a threat, it's a strength. They will not try to change her, shrink her, or make her bend to their will. They will respect her for who she is, knowing that the relationship will be more meaningful when both partners are whole, independent, and self-aware. To be independent is to reject society's pressures that demand conformity. An INFJ woman does not surrender to societal norms or expectations. She does not allow the world to tell her who she should be or how she should live. Her independence is a form of rebellion, not against people, but against the systems that try to shape her into someone she is not. She refuses to be possessed, defined, or controlled by anyone or anything. For the INFJ woman, independence is more than just a concept. It's her essence. It's the fire that fuels her, the compass that guides her, and the constant reminder that she is whole, powerful, and free. When she stands firm in her independence, she is not just preserving her power, she is honoring her true self. If you're resonating with this, make sure to hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more empowering content like this. Let's keep going. 2. Never weaken your boundaries for his comfort. For an INFJ woman, boundaries are sacred. They are the invisible lines that define her space, her time, and her mental and emotional energy. Boundaries are not just about protecting herself from physical intrusion. They are about protecting her essence, her energy, and her peace of mind. These boundaries are her personal commandments, and to weaken them, to bend them for anyone's comfort, is to betray herself and her core values. When you weaken your boundaries for someone else's sake, you are setting a dangerous precedent. At first, it might seem like a small concession, a little compromise here, a gentle bending there, but boundaries, much like the foundation of a building, are what hold everything together. When they begin to crack or shift, it's not long before the entire structure starts to feel unstable. It's the quiet, creeping erosion of your sense of self, a slow and subtle unraveling that begins with one small concession and snowballs into a deep sense of dissatisfaction and emotional depletion. An INFJ woman knows that boundaries are the key to maintaining peace and harmony in her life. They are not walls built to isolate or shut people out, but are more like velvet ropes that protect her inner world. These ropes ensure that only those who respect her, her needs and her emotional space are allowed access to her. Weakening these boundaries isn't just about being generous or accommodating, it's about being coerced into emotional compromise for someone else's convenience. That's not love, it's control masked as care. Weakening boundaries might seem harmless at first. It might feel like you're being understanding or generous, but every time you do so, you chip away at the very thing that makes you whole. If you give an inch, eventually, you will be expected to give a mile. Your emotional energy will be drained, and in time, you will find that you have nothing left to give. Not to your partner, not to yourself, and certainly not to your dreams. The INFJ woman recognizes that her boundaries are not negotiable. They are what keep her grounded, what help her prioritize her own needs without guilt or shame. She will not tolerate someone who repeatedly pushes against her boundaries, even if that person claims to love her. The test of true love is not how much you are willing to sacrifice, but how much respect is shown for your personal boundaries. Love does not require self-sacrifice at the expense of one's soul. It requires respect, mutual understanding, and a willingness to honor each other's personal space and needs. The right partner will understand that a boundary is not a challenge to be overcome, but a promise to be honored. They will never make her feel guilty for needing time to herself, for saying no, or for demanding respect. A relationship where boundaries are continually crossed or compromised will never lead to lasting happiness. It will only lead to resentment and emotional burnout. An INFJ woman will always choose herself over compromise. She knows that no matter how much someone loves her, their comfort should never come at the expense of her well-being. Her boundaries are a reflection of her self-respect, and they are not for sale or negotiation. They are non-negotiable for anyone, no matter how much they might claim to care for her. In the end, an INFJ woman understands that no relationship worth having will demand her to lose herself in the process. Healthy love respects boundaries, nurtures growth, and provides the space needed to remain whole. Quick check. If you're still with me, make sure you comment below your thoughts. On this topic, what boundaries do you struggle with? Let's talk about it, and don't forget to subscribe for more. 3. Never suppress your authenticity to fit his expectations. Authenticity is the core of an INFJ woman's being. It is not a trait she adopts when convenient, nor is it something she wears to impress others. It is her raw, unfiltered essence, the truth of who she is, free from external influences, pressure, or judgment. To ask her to suppress her authenticity to fit someone else's expectations is to ask her to betray herself. This is a line she will never cross. The INFJ woman thrives on her individuality. Her strength lies in her ability to be unapologetically herself, regardless of how that makes others feel. She knows that she has the power to carve out her own path in a world that constantly tries to force people into molds. Her authenticity is a reflection of her inner confidence and understanding that she is enough just as she is. It is not for validation or approval, but for her own sense of peace and fulfillment. When someone tries to mold her into their vision of what she should be, they are attempting to diminish her light. This is something she cannot allow. To shrink herself or water down her true self to make someone more comfortable is an act of self-betrayal. It's like asking a bird to clip its wings in order to fit into a smaller cage. While it might seem easier or safer to shrink into someone's narrow expectations, she knows that in doing so, she loses the very thing that makes her unique, the power of her full expression. For the INFJ woman, authenticity is everything. It is the foundation of all her relationships, whether with friends, family, or partners. If a relationship requires her to suppress her true nature or play a role to meet someone's expectations, she will not hesitate to walk away. She understands that authenticity is the glue that binds true connections. Without it, there is no real bond. There is only a superficial performance designed to meet someone else's needs at the expense of her own. Authenticity is also the key to her happiness. When she embraces who she is without pretending to be anything she's not, she experiences a deep sense of fulfillment. She doesn't need to live up to anyone else's standards or fit into a box created by societal norms. She creates her own box, one that is expansive, limitless, and true to her. By staying true to herself, she attracts people who genuinely appreciate her for the person she is, not the person they want her to be. The right partner for an INFJ woman will never ask her to suppress her authenticity. They will celebrate her individuality and encourage her to shine in all her glory. This type of partner will understand that the INFJ woman's authenticity is what makes her magnetic, not her conformity. They won't seek to change her. Instead, they will see her as a whole, complete person who enhances their life with her unique perspective and energy. In contrast, a relationship where one is constantly asked to suppress their authenticity is a recipe for resentment, unhappiness, and emotional exhaustion. The INFJ woman won't stand for it. She knows her worth, and she will never compromise her true self to fit into someone else's world. Her authenticity is not for sale, and she will never suppress it for anyone, no matter how much they claim to love her. Let me know if you agree. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. You're not alone in this journey. Let's keep supporting each other. Never engage in emotional drama or games. An INFJ woman is not interested in emotional drama or manipulative games, and she never will be. For her, emotional peace is non-negotiable. She has no time or energy to waste on needless conflicts, passive-aggressive behavior, or emotional blackmail. Life is already complex and challenging enough. Why add to it by getting caught in petty games or dramatic situations? She values authenticity, transparency, and direct communication, and she won't settle for anything less. Emotional games are the manipulations that some people use to control, confuse, or manipulate others. These can range from subtle tactics, like guilt-tripping or playing hot and cold, to more overt strategies like playing on someone's insecurities or withholding affection. For the INFJ woman, these games are toxic, exhausting, and completely unnecessary. She is grounded enough in herself to see through such tactics, and she knows that no relationship is worth the emotional turmoil that games inevitably cause. Engaging in emotional games is akin to playing chess with a pigeon. No matter how carefully you play, the pigeon will knock over the pieces, shit on the board, and strut around like it won anyway. It's not only frustrating, but entirely pointless. The INFJ woman knows this truth. She's not interested in guessing games, decoding hidden messages, or trying to figure out what her partner really means. Life is far too short to invest in something that isn't straightforward and honest. She will not give her energy to a relationship that feels more like a guessing game or an emotional contest. For her, emotional manipulation is one of the clearest signs of disrespect. If a partner is using emotional games to get their way, to keep her on edge, or to gain an upper hand, that relationship is doomed from the start. The INFJ woman is incredibly self-aware, and she's not going to get swept up in drama that only serves to undermine her peace of mind. She recognizes that relationships are meant to enhance life, not create additional chaos. When someone tries to engage her in emotional games, she'll simply step back, assess the situation, and choose to walk away if necessary. She doesn't need to win an argument or prove anything to anyone. She doesn't need to entertain someone else's drama or play mind games to make herself feel validated. She knows her worth, and she will not sacrifice her peace for anyone's petty antics. This isn't to say that the INFJ woman shies away from confrontation or avoids difficult conversations. Quite the opposite. She values honest and direct communication, even when it's uncomfortable. But what she won't tolerate is indirectness or manipulation. She won't accept a relationship that forces her to read between the lines or try to interpret vague signals. If someone has an issue, she expects them to voice it clearly, respectfully, and without hidden agendas. A healthy relationship in the INFJ woman's world is built on honesty, respect, and mutual understanding. Emotional games don't fit into that dynamic. They only serve to break down trust and create unnecessary conflict. For the INFJ woman, the best way to handle a disagreement is not through games, but through calm and clear dialogue. Anything less is a waste of time. At the end of the day, the INFJ woman knows her boundaries and will never lower them for the sake of drama or emotional manipulation. She's not here to play games, and she never will be. 5. Never settle for less than mutual respect and equality. For an INFJ woman, mutual respect and equality are non-negotiables in any relationship. She knows that a healthy, thriving partnership requires both individuals to be valued as equals, not as one person being superior or inferior to the other. A relationship built on the foundation of mutual respect is the only one worth investing in. Anything less is a disservice to both parties involved. She doesn't believe in power imbalances. She believes in balance, respect, and the freedom to exist as equal contributors in a partnership. Respect is more than just a nice word for an INFJ woman. It's an absolute necessity. It's about acknowledging each other's individuality, beliefs, values, and emotional needs. It's about listening and understanding, not about control or domination. An INFJ woman will never tolerate being disrespected or belittled, not even in the name of love. She understands that respect is the cornerstone of trust, communication, and intimacy in any relationship, and she won't allow anyone to undermine it. Equality is equally critical. An INFJ woman will never settle for a relationship where she is treated as less than her partner. She believes that both partners should contribute equally, not necessarily in identical ways, but in ways that honor each person's strengths, skills, and capacities. This doesn't mean that there won't be moments where one person carries the weight more than the other. It's not about tit for tat. It's about fairness. It's about each person supporting the other in both big and small ways and acknowledging the value each brings to the table. An INFJ woman knows her worth, and she expects to be treated as an equal, never as someone to be controlled, manipulated, or subordinated. When a relationship operates with mutual respect and equality, both partners can be themselves without fear of judgment, manipulation, or suppression. They can communicate openly, share their thoughts and feelings freely, and work together to solve problems. There is no room for power struggles or one person trying to dominate the other. The INFJ woman does not view relationships as competitions. For her, it's not about winning or losing, but about building something meaningful together, a partnership that strengthens both individuals rather than diminishing either one. If a relationship makes her feel like she's constantly being undermined, dismissed, or controlled, she will walk away. She will not settle for less than the respect she deserves. Her self-worth is too important, and she understands that any relationship that makes her feel inferior is not one that is worthy of her time, energy, or love. An INFJ woman knows that relationships should be uplifting, not depleting. They should create an environment where both partners can grow and evolve, both as individuals and as a couple. Equality doesn't mean sameness. It means balance. Each person brings something different, and those differences should be celebrated, not used as a reason to feel less than or superior. Mutual respect and equality ensure that both partners are free to express themselves fully without fear of judgment or reprisal. In the end, the INFJ woman is firm in her belief that no one should have to settle for less than equal respect and partnership. She's not here to be someone's subordinate or to bow to anyone's whims. She knows that the right relationship is one where both individuals stand side by side, equal in value, respect, and love. Never lose your sense of self. In the relationship, for an INFJ woman, maintaining her sense of self in any relationship is paramount. She understands that no matter how deep or intense a connection may be, her identity must never be compromised. The idea of losing herself in a relationship, whether through emotional dependency, conformity, or surrendering her individuality, is utterly foreign to her. A relationship should never demand that one person lose their sense of who they are, their passions, or their dreams. Instead, it should enhance both partners, allowing them to continue growing as individuals while building something meaningful together. The INFJ woman understands the value of her independence and individuality. These are the qualities that make her who she is: strong, resilient, and self-aware. She knows that a healthy relationship is one where both individuals come to the table whole and complete. She is not interested in relationships that try to absorb or mold her into something she's not, simply to make the partnership more convenient. To lose her sense of self would be to lose her power, and she will never allow that to happen. When she enters a relationship, it's not to find herself. She's already found who she is. She doesn't need someone else to define her. In fact, she's often sought out by others precisely because of her strong sense of identity. But for her, love isn't about merging into one entity or abandoning her own values to please someone else. It's about finding a partner who respects her individuality, understands her desires, and supports her in being the best version of herself. Losing one's sense of self in a relationship often starts slowly. Tiny compromises, little sacrifices, for the sake of harmony. Maybe she starts doing things she doesn't enjoy to please her partner, or maybe she puts her dreams on hold to accommodate someone else's goals. At first, it seems harmless, but over time, these small compromises accumulate, and before she knows it, she's no longer the person she once was. She may lose touch with her passions, her ambitions, or her boundaries, and once that happens, resentment begins to build, and the relationship, once promising, starts to feel like a cage. An INFJ woman knows that in order to thrive in a relationship, she must stay true to herself. She will always prioritize her values, her goals, and her passions. She will never suppress her interests or hide her true personality to avoid conflict or to fit someone else's mold. In her world, authenticity is not a luxury, it's a necessity. She will never let anyone make her feel guilty for being herself or for maintaining her individuality. The right partner for an INFJ woman is one who understands this truth. They will not try to control her or change her in ways that compromise her identity. Instead, they will celebrate her individuality and encourage her to continue pursuing her passions and dreams. They will respect her need for space, her desire for growth, and her commitment to herself. A partnership built on mutual respect for each other's sense of self is a powerful one, where both individuals can thrive, support each other's growth, and create something beautiful together. Ultimately, the INFJ woman knows that her strength comes from within, and no relationship should ever take that from her. Her identity is hers to protect, and she will always safeguard it with everything she has. The right relationship won't make her lose herself. It will empower her to be even more of the person she was meant to be. 7. Never rush emotional intimacy or vulnerability. For an INFJ woman, emotional intimacy and vulnerability are precious and delicate. She understands that these aspects of a relationship cannot and should not be rushed. Trust and vulnerability are not commodities to be quickly exchanged. They are earned, developed, and nurtured over time. An INFJ woman knows that rushing emotional closeness only leads to superficial connections and exposes her to the risk of being hurt or manipulated. For her, emotional intimacy is a slow, steady burn, not a blazing fire meant to burn out quickly. She believes that true emotional connection is built on a foundation of trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Rushing through this process for the sake of convenience or to appease a partner is not only counterproductive, but a betrayal of herself. Vulnerability is a powerful tool, but it must be wielded carefully. It's a gift, not a weapon, and it should never be used to manipulate or be rushed for someone else's benefit. When an INFJ woman opens up emotionally, she does so when she feels safe and secure, not out of pressure or obligation. She's aware of her emotional landscape, and she takes her time to assess who is worthy of her trust. Her vulnerability is not something she casually offers or gives away on a whim. It is a treasure she will share only with someone who has proven they can hold it with the same care, respect, and understanding she gives it. Rushing emotional intimacy can lead to an imbalance in a relationship, where one person becomes overly dependent or expectant of emotional responses that aren't yet ready to be shared. The INFJ woman knows that premature emotional vulnerability can create an unequal dynamic where one person holds all the emotional weight and the other person is left unprepared for it. It can also lead to feelings of resentment, disappointment, or confusion if one partner isn't ready to handle the depth of the other's emotions. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but for an INFJ woman, it's one of her greatest strengths. She chooses to reveal her true self only to those who have shown patience, understanding, and respect. It's a slow process, one that she controls, not someone else. She understands that intimacy needs to be earned, and rushing it undermines its value. In her eyes, intimacy is not about sharing everything quickly, it's about creating a safe space where both partners can reveal themselves at their own pace, with full trust and confidence. The right partner for an INFJ woman will respect her emotional boundaries and understand that intimacy and vulnerability are not on a timetable. They will be patient, not pressuring her for more than she is ready to give. They will recognize that real emotional depth takes time, and will be content with the slow build-up of connection rather than seeking instant emotional closeness. Ultimately, an INFJ woman believes that rushing emotional intimacy does a disservice to both parties. She understands that authentic emotional bonds take time, and she will never settle for anything less than a genuine, deeply connected relationship built on trust, respect, and mutual vulnerability. She knows that emotional intimacy is something precious, something that, when nurtured, creates a bond that lasts a lifetime. Breach 8. Never ignore your need for alone time and reflection. For an INFJ woman, solitude is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Alone time is her sanctuary, a space where she can recharge, reflect, and reconnect with herself. In a world that constantly demands attention, noise, and interaction, she understands the profound importance of carving out time for herself. This time is sacred, not just for relaxation, but for clarity, introspection, and growth. She knows that to remain grounded, she must prioritize her own mental and emotional well-being, and solitude is the key to maintaining that balance. The INFJ woman thrives in her own company. She is fully capable of being alone without feeling lonely. In fact, solitude fuels her creativity, enhances her self-awareness, and helps her reconnect with her deepest desires. It is in these quiet moments that she can hear her own thoughts clearly, without the interference of external voices or pressures. Alone time is where she can reflect on her day, her goals, and her life path. It's the space where she can recalibrate and ensure that she's still aligned with her true self, not lost in the noise of everyday life or the expectations of others. Many people in relationships struggle with the idea of needing alone time. There's often a misconception that needing space means a lack of love or commitment. But the INFJ woman knows that this couldn't be further from the truth. Her need for solitude isn't a reflection of her dissatisfaction with her partner. It's a reflection of her commitment to her own emotional health. A healthy relationship doesn't demand that she be constantly available or present. Instead, it allows for both partners to have the space they need to nurture themselves individually. She believes that only by honoring her own needs can she show up fully in the relationship. The right partner for an INFJ woman understands this need for solitude and respects it. They recognize that her alone time is not a rejection, but a form of self-care. A healthy relationship is one where both partners respect each other's space and understand that personal reflection is a key to personal growth. It's not about being physically present all the time, but about emotionally supporting one another while allowing room for individual development. Ignoring the need for alone time can lead to emotional burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-identity. If an INFJ woman is constantly giving without taking the time to recharge, she will eventually deplete her energy, both emotionally and mentally. She may start to feel overwhelmed, disconnected from herself, and ultimately from her partner. To give from an empty cup is to create a relationship built on exhaustion, not mutual support. Solitude is not just about retreating from the world. It's about honoring her need to center herself and reconnect with her own energy. The INFJ woman knows that alone time allows her to replenish, to process, and to think critically about her own life and goals. It's where she finds clarity, where her best ideas emerge, and where she can grow into the person she is meant to be. Without this time for herself, she risks losing touch with who she truly is. In the end, an INFJ woman understands that her alone time is not a selfish act. It is a necessary one for her mental and emotional well-being. She will never ignore the importance of reflection and self-care, because she knows that when she nurtures herself, she can be the best version of herself in any relationship. If you found yourself nodding along, recognizing the powerful truths in this message, it's time to take action. Your independence, your authenticity, and your peace are non-negotiable. You deserve relationships that elevate you, not diminish you. If you're ready to build a life where your boundaries are respected, your authenticity is celebrated, and your need for solitude is understood, then start by honoring yourself first. Don't wait for others to give you permission to be who you are. Take control of your narrative, set your boundaries, don't compromise them for anyone. Celebrate your individuality, never shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Prioritize your own well-being, without guilt, without apology. The world needs more women who live unapologetically, confidently, and on their own terms. If you want to continue to thrive as the strong, independent, and empowered woman you are, it's no time to take a stand for your worth. So here's your challenge. Today, take one action, big or small, that honors your independence. Whether it's setting a new boundary, embracing a moment of alone time, or speaking your truth, start today. Embrace your INFJ energy and live life on your terms. Remember, you are enough, and you don't need to change for anyone. So what will you do next? Start honoring yourself, because when you do, everything else falls into place.